Hi, Christabel Edwards here, Grandma's Delights. As you may be aware, I have published a Kindle book on Amazon called 12 Essential Tips for New Grandmas. Its aim is to set the rules of engagement for grandmas and families over the birth of a new family member. It's aimed at grandmas, but it also works for the prospective new mum because it offers a diplomatic way of making the grandmas aware of the fact that this is her baby and she will have it and look after it the way she thinks right, given the latest thinking on pregnancy, childcare and childbirth. In my other video, I explained the book in more detail, but here I wanted to look at some of the new thinking around childcare and wonder if it is so right. Now, the first thing I wanted to look at was the fact that newborn babies should be laid on their back rather than on their side or stomach. I never quite understood laying the baby on its stomach, although my elder grandchild naturally seemed to gravitate to that as soon as she could roll over. But my daughter just had her second child some 6 weeks ago, and I would like to question the benefits of laying new babies on their back because new babies frequently have a kind of reflux after they've been fed and bring back some of the milk. I think it's called a posset or something like that. Well, before our baby had even left the hospital, this happened after the feed, and if her mother had not been watching, she would have choked. Logically, if a baby is laid on its side and it's sick, the vomit does not go back down the throat, but dribbles out of the side of the mouth. Surely that is why laying babies on their side has been the norm since time began. And I really wish someone could tell me why the advice on this has been changed. Another thing that concerns me, and I feel has even greater long-term effects on the child, is the way we are raising our children to feel fear of the world. When I grew up in the 40s and 50s, before supermarkets, there were parades of small shops, and young women would leave the baby in the pram outside the shop. No one would have thought of taking the bulky pram into the shop. The baby would sit outside, and when the mother returned, there would probably be a few women talking to the baby who was perfectly happy and contented. No one ever thought they were about to abduct the child. But now, on occasions when I have seen a small child in a supermarket looking lost, and I've asked her if she's looking for her mother, a look of absolute horror has come over the child, and the mother, suddenly appearing, has grabbed the child, scowled at me as though I was trying to abduct her. This has become so prevalent that an experiment was done recently in a shopping arcade where 2 little girls were asked to look as though they were lost and confused. In one whole hour of them standing there, only one grandma type came to help them. The conclusion was how bad it was that no one was prepared to help them. But is it really surprising when having offered assistance, you've been made to feel like a paedophile? Of course, children do need to know not to take sweets from a stranger, but is it a good idea for them to feel that everyone is a potential abductor? What happened to the freedom that we had running about in parks and playgrounds with a group of other children, but totally unattended by any adults, climbing trees, etc., exploring and having adventures? Do we really live in a much more dangerous world, or is it that we are creating one with our attitudes? Now, another bee in my bonnet is about breastfeeding. I'm really pleased to know that new mothers are being really encouraged to breastfeed. But when I speak to young women who are having their first child, there is always a caveat. I will try to feed, but I may not be able to. I ask you, how do you think babies have been fed since time began? Not only is breastfeeding the best for the baby, boosting immunity in the first year, and many, many benefits. There is even evidence that breastfed babies have higher IQs than bottle-fed babies. But breastfeeding also helps the mother to regain her figure, but better still, reduces the chances of breast and ovarian cancer dramatically. Of course, in the last 30 years, there have been dramatic advances made in childcare and paediatric medicine, all of which is wonderful and I applaud. But don't dismiss all the traditional childcare ideas as old wives' tales, because some of them were very sensible. If you would like to join me on my website, Grandma's Delights, I would love to hear your views. Thank you.